Good morning, everyone. And Jeff mentioned the reason why the ambassador couldn't make it. He was very excited to come to this great event and gathering of important friends of Afghanistan to talk about the opportunities that is available in Afghanistan and things that we can offer in Afghanistan and a lot of changes that has been happening. But I tried to pretend to be ambassador, but it's an honor for me and my colleagues from the embassy who've been here. And without due date, I would like to read out, as Jeff said, the remarks that the ambassador was supposed to deliver. Thank you for being here, and thank you, Jeff, for inviting us here to speak about what I hope all of you see as truly encouraging signs of progress and growth in Afghanistan. I think I'm right that everyone here is interested emotionally, if also not financially, in seeing Afghanistan become a peaceful and a reliant country, a place where products, knowledge, and ideas could flow freely. Thank you. And all women and men are empowered to go as far as their abilities will take them. With that bright day in mind, I want to update you on some concrete developments that support our belief that we are on the right way. If my calculations are correct, in 11 days from today, Afghanistan will officially become a member of the World Trade Organization. The steps have been made before, and the ratification process in the country and internal procedures have all been completed. Only the formal complete process will happen in 11 days from now. On July the 29th, Afghanistan will achieve the ambitious goal we set out for ourselves about 12 years ago. Membership in World Trade Organization is confirmation of Afghanistan's commitment to a free market economy, which is absolutely necessary for us to achieve our national goals of alleviating poverty and achieving lasting peace and stability. No one should underestimate how hard Afghanistan has worked to join this important club. We use the accession process as a catalyst to advance our long-term reform and development goals. We made sweeping, systematic reforms, we strengthened our markets, and we brought our economic and private sector practices into compliance, something that did not very much exist before. We committed to greater fiscal discipline and created a favorable environment for trade and investment. The WTO's own Director General, Roberto Azevedo, called Afghanistan's membership, and I quote, an endorsement of the extensive program of domestic reforms Afghanistan has undertaken to accelerate economic growth. Going forward, membership in the WTO will bring the National Unity Government new momentum and support for its domestic reform programs and agenda. And that's great news for our plans to get the economy up and running. Some other benefits also include that our exports will have access to the markets of the WTO and in its 163 countries. We should see an uptick in foreign direct investment, given that membership in the WTO is a key criteria for investors looking for new opportunities. Afghanistan will have an advantage in negotiations with aspiring WTO members like Iran, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, and Uzbekistan. As a member, we will receive assistance to build both human and institutional capacity. Our local industries will be protected from unfair trade policies. We will be able to take part in the WTO dispute settlement negotiation. I'm going to stay with positive news from Afghanistan's economic development sectors before I switch topics to talk about security that everybody will be very interested to also hear about. In less than 2 years as president, Ashraf Ghani has moved many things to his critics. Not least is that he has a transformative vision for Afghanistan that's taken our country toward self-reliance. When he was finance minister a decade ago, he implemented long-term plans that we are now seeing that are paying dividends and proving that his ideas were right at the time. And he's doing the same just today as the president as well, which we can see in the deals he's signing and the commitments he's agreeing to. I'll give you a perfect example to put that into more details. Last week, he took part in the official signing ceremony for a major new investment, as Mr. Jeff just said, by AACC Corporation. This deal is a model of public-private partnership for economic development. The government gave 75 acres of land to AACC for a project that will see them invest about $350 million in the food, paper, and publication industries. This investment will create 2,000 direct jobs and about 10,000 indirect jobs, an effort to depart from or recover from a loss of about 500,000 jobs that happened following the withdrawal of the international forces from Afghanistan. The taxes it generates will also contribute to national revenue and spur economic growth. Since every successful investment inspires more like that, AACC says it will do all this within 3 years. For our part, the government has committed to providing help and cooperation with its exports. This is just one of the many opportunities that we're looking at with an eye to creating more public and private partnerships, because we know that when it comes to Afghanistan's future, a thriving private sector is as important as a strong public sector. I also want to mention that work is successfully moving forward on TAPI, the Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India pipeline project, and the CASA 1000 energy project is also progressing very well. On both projects, we are heavily engaged in transport, trade, transit, and custom cooperation with our neighbors. In addition, most of you will have seen the historic transit agreement that was signed in May by President Ashraf Ghani and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Iranian President Hassan Rouhani, the Chabahar Port Agreement. The Chabahar Port Agreement is a new regional transport and transit corridor connecting Central Asia to Southeast Asia. It will provide landlocked Afghanistan with its first ever access to international waterways. Chabahar Port in southeastern Iran gives also Afghanistan access to the Arabian Sea. It's great news for Afghanistan's economy and development. It will reduce Afghanistan's economic dependence on volatile routes passing through the Pakistani territories and significantly expand our ability to export our products to the world market beyond, as well as import the materials we need to rebuild and revitalize the economy. Now, Afghanistan's security has been making headlines lately, and I'm happy to say, for all the right reasons, sometimes it's good to make headlines for the good reasons too. Last month, President Obama announced that he had decided to slow the planned drawdown of American troops from our country. The decision reflected a deep understanding of the fact that our nations face threats from common enemies, and defeating terrorism is in both of our national interests. We were immensely grateful to learn of the decision, and we welcomed this decision for the very right reasons, that both the countries share interests and threats. Our brave forces are doing an exceptional job against multiple enemy groups, and the assistance of experienced U.S. forces is key to their success. It sends a powerful message also to terrorists who act on Afghan soil that they will come to face a strong and increasingly capable Afghan force partnered with their experienced American colleagues. Just this past Saturday, the Washington Post ran a major story headlined, "The fight against the Taliban is going better than expected." It said, and I quote, "Officials and analysts say there are signs the Taliban is under strain this summer, while Afghan security forces are finally becoming a battle-ready force." The article correctly noted that the assistance of U.S. forces has been instrumental in the transformation. But this U.S. decision will also help Afghanistan beyond the battlefield, as you can imagine. It has boosted our national confidence that America is committed to helping us and our country achieve peace and self-sustainability. And this is a big development. It also gives the government breathing room so it can complete its unfinished work on trade expansion and job creation measures. We can also forge ahead with the governance reforms in the areas of transparency and anti-corruption measures, another area that might have discouraged our investors from Afghanistan. But many strong measures have been taken to address this menace, including the National Procurement Authority that has saved millions of, I could say hundreds of millions of dollars in bad contracting practices. And this will also encourage investment in areas like mining, information technology, and agriculture. This in turn will boost revenue and help us climb out of the financial hole that we fell in after the mass withdrawal, as I just mentioned, of the foreign troops 2 years ago. The NATO meeting in Warsaw earlier this month was further affirmation of the international community's commitment to Afghan peace and stability beyond 2016. Our Western allies agreed to deliver training, advice, and assistance to Afghan security institutions, including the police, Air Force, and our special operations forces. They also agreed to help us with, apart from security, electoral reforms, women's empowerment, anti-corruption measures, countering narcotics trafficking, job creation, and economic opportunities. They affirmed that a stable and prosperous Afghanistan will support a stable and prosperous region, and affirmed that their belief as an inclusive Afghan-led and an Afghan-owned peace and reconciliation process is the pathway to a sustainable resolution of the conflict. Afghanistan's NATO allies are also looking ahead to this October to the Donors Conference in Brussels, where we expect to impress the international community with news of solid progress in several areas and secure long-term commitments to our growth. The conference will have three main areas of focus. One will be the joint international and Afghan efforts to increase the effectiveness of sustained international support and funding on the basis of a new Afghan national development framework. And two, our report on Afghan reforms, an example of which I just mentioned before, including on economic reform, rule of law, improved public finance management, and anti-corruption. And three, regional efforts to support a political process towards peace and cross-border economic cooperation. We know that how far we've come since the last major conference like this in 2014, so we're optimistic that the international community will be pleasantly surprised. I've enjoyed updating all of you on these encouraging developments in Afghanistan, a country we're all tied to in one way or another. And in closing, we have one thing to ask you for, that you believe in us as we believe in ourselves. And we need your support and participation as we grow and as Afghanistan grows stronger. Thank you very much.